Good afternoon. It is Friday, April 7th, 2023. We have a couple of birthdays today, two cardless ones and one with a few cards. We also have a few events. We'll get to those right now. 1991 at Darlington on this date, Ricky Rudd wins the Trans-South 500 for his only victory during the 1991 season. He was the points leader for the bulk of the center part of the year, then had some inconsistent runs near the end of the summer and beginning of the fall that led to him falling to a distant second in points behind Dale Earnhardt. But also on this date with that race, Michael Waltrip was en route to his first career win, leading the most laps, but tire issues and a bad pit stop put him down to a third-place finish. This was during an era where NASCAR did not allow tire changing under yellow. The first handful of races in 1991 had issues with cautions stemming from the previous fall in Atlanta where Mike Rich was killed in the pits. NASCAR had some crazy pit road rules the first 5 or 6 races before they decided the pit road speed, and that's been in rules since very, very early 91. I can't remember what race they put it in, but that's made pit road much safer. On this date in 2001, Scott Riggs wins his first career Truck Series race at Martinsville. I vaguely remember this happening. I believe he was in the 2 truck, the Team ASE truck, which seemed to have a bunch of winners. But Scott Riggs, Martinsville, first career win. On this date in 2006, Tony Stewart wins an IROC race in Texas at Texas Motor Speedway, but it was the second consecutive IROC race that Steve Kinser flipped. He had a flip in the Daytona race, then he flipped the car in the Texas race on the backstretch. So I was beginning to wonder if Steve Kinser was getting ready to just say no more to IROC. Then, final thing, this date 1 year ago, William Byron won at Martinsville. Not really anything significant happening in that race, but he did debut that Raptor paint scheme that was pretty popular with everybody. Pretty nice looking car. Our 2 cardless birthdays, let's start off in 1958, born on this day, former World of Outlaws sprint car driver, the Wild Child Jack Haudenschild. And born on this date, 1976, current ARCA car owner, Billy Venturini. So our only birthday that we have some cards of, born on this date in 1966, former Daytona 500 pole sitter, Mr. Loy Allen. So we're going to start off, this picture, of course it's a 94 Max, this picture is in 1993, you see him running the Naturally Fresh and Classic mixers as his sponsor. This was a team that was owned by him and his dad, car number 37. They were going to run a few cup races in 94, and then they ended up getting moved up to the TriStar team, which was renumbered from 68 to 19. Now, with that being said, he was kind of like a farm team for Alan Kulwicki in the ARCA series. They ran a lot of speedways, had a similar painted up car, similar uniforms and everything, and actually did really well on the speedways. Well, obviously when Allen was killed in 93, they brought Loy up to Cup. Hooters did. Originally, Hooters said, hey, we'll keep sponsoring the 7 car if you put Loy Allen in. The team was like, and Felix Sabatis and Gerald Kulwicki and everybody's like, no, we don't want that. We'll figure out how to make it work. So anyway, Loy took the Hooters sponsorship. There's that uniform was very, very similar to Alan Kulwicki, and eventually they changed it to a more neutral colored uniform, primarily white with the blue and orange trim. And there you see the, let's see, that's still 94, 95. 95, then he moved to Junior Johnson's team, maintained pretty much the same uniform style. 96, he was out the door at Junior Johnson's, back with TriStar with Health Source Insurance Plans. There you see him. Cameo with Dick Trickle there. And then had another different uniform there. And it did have a little logo that said click it or ticket, and it was made to look like a seatbelt. Then we have some cars of Loy's. We totally passed the 19 car. So again, this was the car Loy ran in 1994 during his Rookie of the Year campaign. He was the first Rookie of the Year contender to start the Daytona 500 on the pole, but not the first rookie driver, as Ramos Stott in 1976, who had a birthday yesterday, was the first rookie pole sitter. So there's Loy. the Hooters car number 19 that he ran. When he went to Junior Johnson, he only ran a handful of races in this car. I think before Junior realized this Loy Allen experiment's going nowhere. They released Loy Allen. They put Hut Strickland in the car at Bristol. He did not qualify. Then they put Elton Sawyer in the car for the rest of the year, and they ran mediocre at best. But Loy, then of course the team was sold in mid-96. Junior Johnson just pretty much left NASCAR. This team was sold to David Blair, and it just went away after about a year and a half. Again, the TriStar car that Loy drove, it's got one of them crazy paint schemes. He was injured early in 1996. And kind of funny, the guy that replaced him was Dick Trickle, who was on that other card. So I think that's kind of funny that those two were on that card in the same year that Trickle replaced Loy Allen when Loy was injured for most of the year. Then you see they kind of soften up the paint scheme, quit doing so much, a little less yellow, and quit checkerboarding the colors. And we talked about it before here on the channel with Richard Jackson. This was the final car that Richard Jackson was an owner of, number 14, Loy Allen. He tried to qualify for Daytona in 1997. They did not qualify, and it was shortly after that that Richard Jackson shut down his team. Loy Allen would hop from a couple more teams here and there, but never really have a steady ride in NASCAR. Not sure what he does now. I think he works... I've heard different things that he does, but it'd be kind of interesting to see what he's doing now. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Had some cool cards there, a little throwback going down memory lane. I did get to meet Loy Allen at Ford, one of the Ford Fest days they had in Indy in 1994. He seemed like a cool guy. I had him autograph my NASCAR yearbook and press guide, but never really was for him or against him. He was just kind of a driver that fell under the radar. So anyway, thanks again. Happy birthday to all those celebrating birthdays today. Thanks again, and we will see you tomorrow.